What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm excited to welcome our guest, Ryan Hogue. If you're not familiar with him, you should get to know him because he teaches you how to start and automate your online e-commerce business. And he's been selling on multiple platforms for the past few years now, and he's making an insane amount of passive income online. He shares how much he makes every month on his monthly income reports on his channel. So make sure you go and watch those. Those are some of my most favorite content that you put out, Ryan. So make sure you go and watch those. The link to his channel will be in the description. So thank you so much for being here, Ryan. I'm grateful for the time to be able to pick your brain apart about print on demand and efficiency and making passive income online in 2021.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brendan. And I'm glad that somebody likes the income reports.
Dude, they're so good.
I had to make a whole funny story, but I used to be a web developer professionally, and I haven't worked as a web developer, I guess, since the beginning of 2020. But I had to kind of make the database for my I did my website from scratch, basically, is the story. So I had to structure the database exactly how to do it for those reports, and that helped me get my confidence when I was starting YouTube, because I didn't really know, it's weird when you start out. So I would put my website behind me and kind of just read read the content that I had written earlier. So
Right.
I'm glad somebody likes them. I still do them. So
Dude, I love them. I look forward to them every month. They're so good.
cool.
And
I'm
that's
glad.
crazy. It just blows my mind how much you're making online doing print on demand. So with that being said, I'm just curious. Tell us about yourself, Ryan, and why and how did you get started with print on demand?
Yeah, I was really thinking I would be more of an FBA seller. To me, that's what I knew. The idea of print on demand didn't. The honest story is, I was just reading Reddit. Everybody's familiar with the website Reddit, probably, and I think the community that I was in was one that, man, it's silly to talk about now. It was really grinding hard to make very little money, but it was, free money. There were websites there were just websites where you would log in every day, do a couple activities, click an ad or two, and it would pay you $1. And
Right.
over time it adds up, right? And I would get Amazon gift cards, and I'd feel oh, swag bucks. That was the website I was
Oh
thinking of.
yeah, I know that one.
And there was this other website called Perk, or I think. And I remember I bought five little super small little smartphones, and you would just install Perk and let it run all day, run ads. And that would make you $6 a day.
Right.
And it's just a silly story. But anyways, I think I was on that Reddit community where they were teaching me how to make an extra $7 a day, basically for nothing. And one day someone was like, yo, y'all need to sign up for merch by Amazon. And I just read it, had no clue what it was, clicked the link, applied, never heard back. So fate must have wanted me to do merch by Amazon, because somehow, again, whether it was Reddit or Facebook or something, it got back in front of me, and I was like, oh yeah, what happened to that? Never heard back. So I applied again, still not knowing what it was, and ended up getting accepted. This was right around the time where I was paying a coach to teach me Amazon FBA. So late 2016, early 2017, and ended up getting accepted this time. And rest was history.
Crazy.
That
So
was the start.
2016. So you've been in it for a while now.
Yeah, really early 2017. I put my first sale up in my income reports. I think it was March or April of 2017, where I had my first sale. Coincidentally, my first FBA sale, my first merch sale coincided.
No way. Cool. And
Yeah.
so would you say doing merch by Amazon's your main gig right now? Is that what you're fully focusing on?
I love merch by Amazon. I love talking about it on YouTube. What's cool is my approach to merch by Amazon has kind of evolved over time.
Uh-huh.
Well, I really love how they, I love and I hate certain things about it. I don't like how they're not transparent about the content policy. It used to be a long page where they were telling you the content policy. Now they've just reduced it to a couple paragraphs. Basically, hey, if you get a rejection, we're not even going to tell you why. And I don't like that part about it. But I like that they gamify selling print on demand, in this case online. They kind of gamify starting your business, right? And they make it easy to start the business. You're not involved in customer service or fulfillment or anything. You're responsible for making good designs and doing good SEO, basically.
Right.
And they reward you over time for being successful. You get a couple, when you start, you can only list 10 products. If you make a couple sales and you fill up your 10 products, they'll eventually let you list 25, and then 25 turns to 100, 100 to 500, etc. Keeps doubling. I'm in tier 200,000. So it's absurd. You can't even
Crazy.
fill 200,000 slots, really. I don't think it's possible. But my
Right.
approach today is I use automation for creating designs and for uploading. So it's very while we're recording this, my uploader's just running. So I do it in a
So
very passive way, but
so uploading all of your listings on merch. So you're really doing not much at all.
Yeah, so it's kind of the opposite of what you're like kind of asking is like in the past it was a part-time job for sure. You know, I had this rule where I wouldn't go to bed until I had maxed out my daily upload slots because I just kind of boil things down to the basics. I'm like an empty upload slot makes me $0 every time. But if I put something up, even if it sucks, it may make a sale and that's getting me closer to my goal, which is just to make money. So I always like for a while, I would lose sleep over uploading to Merch by Amazon, but fortunately now I don't have to, you know. But
Right.
my strategies evolved over time with my tier. So
Okay. Cool. So with that being said, when did you know this had potential to be serious business and just not just a side hustle? Like when was the turning point where like, hey, this thing has potential. I'm going to run with it full force.
that's a great question, man. Like I might sound crazy, but I would like listen. I'd be in the gym, like listening to podcasts. There's one that stood out in my mind, like called Merch Minds, and I think they
Uh-huh.
still put out content. I haven't listened in a while, but the two people on the Merch Minds podcast, Glenn and Young, I always like to shout them out because like they inspired me to be successful as a merch seller. They're the reason I got started on print on demand on Etsy. I know you're big into Etsy. They're the
Glenn
reason I
and
got
Young.
started, man. Yeah, have you heard of them?
No. So I need to do a plug from Glenn and Young, and they
Yeah,
just do
Merch
podcasts
Minds
for.
podcast. It's
Okay, cool.
entertaining. You know, they start out by being entertaining and then they kind of get into the business. And I have no clue how big their audience is, but like they really inspired me. And like my goal was to be bigger than them one day. You know, like no matter what it took, I was just like, and my mind always thought like even when my account was small, if I made a sale in a day, and back then the royalties were higher, so you could make like one sale at 19.99, pocket $7 and change on Merch
Right.
by Amazon. Now it's like $5 and change, which is still good. But like yesterday, I did 300 and like 20 bucks profit on Merch by Amazon. That's a big day for me. And that's if you did that every day, that's over $100,000 profit a year, you know? So like think long term. Like I was always thinking long term. Like I was always thinking of like dollars per day. Like I knew exactly how much my day job was paying me. I knew how much my second job teaching was paying me. I knew what Merch by Amazon more or less. I didn't think about what they paid me on average. I would just look at what I made the day before and then multiply that by 365. And then in my head, I said, what's stopping me from doubling that? Nothing, just time, you know? So that's really what
Interesting.
motivated me.
Cool, man. That's awesome. What I loved about it is you're determined and you had a goal and you stuck to it, and now you're absolutely killing it in the print on demand space.
Thanks.
So cool. So another question I have for you is: I know you used to sell on Etsy. Things happened. You no longer sell on Etsy, but when you were selling on Etsy, based on your experience, how did you stand out on Etsy, and what would you say brought you the most success?
Yeah, good question too, man. And for the record, my favorite, like I got terminated as a result of too many strikes against my account, but like I was getting strikes that were my favorite one. I have to tell that somebody reported me for something that wasn't trademarked, wasn't copyrighted. There was nothing on Etsy that said what my shirt said. Um, and somebody reported me, and the reasoning was my friend sold this on represent.com first. No link. So like that's the
Craziness.
type of strike that you can get on Etsy sometimes that will ultimately result in you losing your account. It was absurd. But nobody will hear your case on it. You know, you get Alex at Etsy. That's like the final boss, and he's like representing the legal team, and he gives you a copy paste response saying that he can't help. So,
Right. So I guess
um,
the lesson is to diversify. You got to not only be on Etsy.
yeah, and just pray that you don't get kicked off. I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna happen to everybody, but like, yeah, it was tough. You know, it is what it is. But
Right.
uh, learning Etsy, I mean, like everything else, there was a good learning curve. We were just talking. We did a video on my channel about how like each e-commerce platform has its own algorithm. So you kind of over time, like you get a feel for how to structure your keywords, where to put your priority uh, in placing your keywords, like typically in the title tags on Etsy. And I never took shortcuts. I always, went and utilized all the tags, even though I hate that 20 character limit. Um, I did things like use like templates, like templatize my descriptions. If something's important, like put a little emoji next to it so it stands out. I always maxed out the keywords in my title, tried to like put in as much relevant keywords as possible. I probably could have learned something from you about like SEO. I more or less just guessed, but my approach also was not optimized for Etsy. It was really like a trickle down where I would take my Merch by Amazon designs and that kind of paste, like my Merch by Amazon tier paste my other businesses. You know, like when I started merch and I had 100 designs, well, 100 designs is nothing. But when I had like 2,000 uniques, or 10,000 uniques, um, then it's kind of like, oh, I got on Etsy late. Now I need to kind of hustle to get these up. So I didn't do as much due diligence, but I really always tried to stand out with like my thumbnails. That was one thing that I noticed
Mhm.
that I was doing differently that not everybody did. Like I made a Photoshop template where I had various backgrounds that I liked. And I would take the flat white mockup from Printful, magic wand the background off. I always did like a drop shadow. I always like resized it to really show the design because I wanted the design to be like the big thing that people saw. And I branded the thumbnail with my shop logo, so it looked really professional and yeah, stuff like that. Etsy ads used to be so much better. You could actually manually bid, and so I would do like
Yes.
manual bids, and I was just crushing. And then they had to change it. So
Right. Man, good tips. I know you talk a lot about too the few videos you have done on Etsy. Also, if you guys aren't familiar, go to Ryan's channel because he has so many good videos about Etsy. Um, but you talk about running a sale. Why do you always recommend running a sale on your Etsy store?
yeah, when I figured that out, like I was like, okay, running a sale, I always think in general, like if we're marketing things to people, everybody's busy with their day. They don't care what we have to sell them. But if you can like catch their eye, and obviously with like the search function in a website, it's a lot easier to put the right product in front of them. And it's like, well, now why did they click you instead of anybody else? Well, that thumbnail looks good. When you run a sale, it's like a value proposition. People who shop Etsy regularly are used to seeing it, so they probably don't care. But like, give yourself every leg up that you have. Like I can sell a t-shirt at 19.99 with no sale, or I can sell it at, what is it, like 22.27 and run 10% off. And it's the same price point, 19.99.
Right.
But now it's like they feel like they're getting a deal. So pricing psychology, I'm a believer in it. At scale, as it scales up and you get in front of more people, I guarantee you the one running a sale is going to have a slightly higher click-through rate. So I just
Cool.
think of things like that. I think like a programmer, man, because I have that programming background.
Which is good. I feel like that sets you apart. So that's awesome. Last question I have for you, Ryan, is okay. So I know you're posting daily on YouTube. You're on merch. You're selling on so many different platforms. How are you so efficient? How do you manage your time? What tools are you using that are helping you with this? Just kind of your workflow. What are you doing to kill it?
Yeah, man. For one, like the biggest differentiator that is accessible to anybody, but I know it's kind of unique to me is like basically 20 years almost since I was 13. I'm 32 now. Like I've been a computer nerd. Like I've just been at the computer, so I like flow very well at a computer. I got like multiple monitors, fast computer, desktop, all those things matter, and like it's kind of like efficiently optimized. Keyboard shortcuts. Like I maximize all of those things that nobody would probably want to talk about because you sound like a nerd, but like I swear it matters, you
Right.
know, like all the shortcuts matter, man. Control T for a new tab, Control W to close a tab, things like that matter. So to start with that, and as far as like my day, like I'm always very conscious of how I spend my time because I used to work a 9 to 5 and a second job and then do the other stuff that was going to free me from those two things. So you just had to be very aware of like where the time was going. I think that helps a lot because then you eliminate the inefficiencies. And I always like tried to like reverse engineer the end goal. So one-off things that weren't leading to me making more passive income, like I try to deprioritize those, because things that lead to making more passive income, like uploading a shirt to Merch by Amazon, which may not even sell, but if you fill that upload slot, now you've got a chance at making money as opposed to, the empty slot that has no chance. I always thought like in those terms kind of. And the YouTube grind that you're going through, man, you're scaling your channel up now, but like you're where I was, 2 years ago or whatever, 2.5 maybe. You just keep pushing, make those workflows that work for you. Like I found a way of making content for YouTube that people say like looks high enough quality, right? Where it works for me from an efficiency standpoint. Like doing my website posts and reading them, that took way too long. I had to move away from that, but it helped me get comfortable. Finding the automation tools like Merch Titans automation is my print on demand uploader of choice that I use right now. Like I said, while we're talking, it's pushing products to Merch by Amazon. The design automation tool is called Automate POD, and that's a Chrome extension that me and a buddy worked on together, and we created, and that just literally hooks into Canva or Photopea, two web browser based design applications. You can also do it in like Illustrator, so you don't
Okay.
need to like pay me to use the Chrome extension. You can go to the Illustrator if you use it. You can pay Adobe, so
Pay
you're paying
Ryan,
somebody.
guys. Pay
Yeah,
Ryan over Adobe.
you're paying somebody, but yeah, so you can do that and you can like scale out your designs if you have the upload slots. I just don't be afraid to like invest in your business. There's a weird
Cool.
like stigma sometimes that we have about spending money to make money. Just get over that. You know, it's okay to do. Like I paid somebody $2,500 before I had sold anything online to teach me FBA. It's a pretty big investment at the time.
For sure.
And but like I knew for me that that was like a psychological trick where now I'm going to see it through no matter what, because I'm in the whole 2,500 and I don't want the joke to be on me, you know. So
Cool.
whatever it takes, you know, psychological tricks, paying for tools, the whole journey too is fun, especially when you're like a little bit more established. Like my girlfriend's kind of going through her own passive income journey and she's grinding through it and not seeing like the the reward, you know, that you kind of
Uh-huh.
get later. And just try to have some fun. You know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's a grind, but
Yeah. Awesome, Ryan. So one last piece of wisdom for people who want to start making money online. If you had to say one last piece of wisdom, what would it be?
yeah, I mean, I always like to say like get started. You just have to take action at some point and be methodical. Like if you not knowing what to do is your barrier
Mhm.
from literally starting right now, then it's okay to like either go find free resources like what you and I publish on YouTube, or a paid course, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a paid course, whatever it is though. Like be methodical. All right, I'm going to take action, but I don't know what to do. Okay, find a free resource or paid resource and just kind of follow along. Like follow somebody that's been there before. Um, there's no shame in that, learning from other people. That's also going to expedite the process of you getting where you want to be. Like you can do it like I did. My income reports, like if you go back in time, like the ones I publish now look good, but the old ones, like you literally see me grind through struggling to make like money, like on my, I call it like dropship print on demand, my non-Amazon merch print on demand money. That scaled up so slowly because I didn't know what I was doing. But
Mhm.
then it's kind of like you get the epiphany moment, and all of a sudden I'm making, you know, 2,000 a month profit now, like on average minimum, like, you know, so it's okay to learn from people that have been there before, but yeah, just get started, take action.
Cool. Man, right on, Ryan. Appreciate the insight and having time to be able to pick your brain apart. So, Ryan Hogue, if you guys don't know him, go and check him out. He is a legend in the space, and he doesn't only teach Etsy, he teaches merch and everything else that you need to know for making money online.
I appreciate it, Brennan. Thank you.